Can you hear this? Hi. If you clicked on this video, you are probably going through spiritual awakening and questioning your path. We've got guests. I apologize for the noise. If you've ever wondered what it's like to live from your heart space, to not know what's next, to live fully, and yet you question how to do that, is it safe? Am I crazy? Then this is a video for you. I hope you can learn from my journey and find the answers for yourself. 10 months ago, a bit more than 10 months ago, I quit my job. Actually, I was fired. And I decided to start my life over. And I moved into a Buddhist monastery where I stayed for 6 months. And this is how my journey went. I will share my experience and my learnings, personal learnings and insights. Hope you're alright. And you will be alright. I made a separate video about how I started living my dream life, where you can learn a bit more about the journey and how I started. Basically, I got fired from my job and I was looking for a bigger purpose and trying to align myself. Again, there was a whisper in my heart that kept telling me that there is something I must accomplish. There is something that I'm not doing for my own self. And I made this change and moved into a Buddhist monastery where I volunteered for 6 months. The expectations I had before going to the monastery was to learn about the religion, to learn about discipline, and practice spirituality, to live a spiritual life. That was my idea, my expectations, and I just wanted to live and felt like I needed to practically use what I know in my mind or what I know in my heart. Sometimes at some point of your life you feel like you've learned so much but you're not applying it, and that is your intuition. Daily routine. So daily life in the monastery. I arrived to the monastery, signed the contract where you accept 5 precepts, which is not lying, not stealing, no killing, no intoxication, and no sexual misconduct. Basic things. You sign the contract, and around the monastery there are rules. You're not allowed to disturb monks and nuns from their teachings. You're not allowed to play loud music. You're not allowed to dance. You're not allowed to open your shoulders, and you must dress modest and simple things like that. Where I adapted, it was quite easy. On a daily basis, we had morning meditation and morning chanting, and then I worked in a cafe as a barista. Sometimes I worked in a kitchen, helped cooking and housekeeping by changing the bed linen and sweeping and cleaning everywhere. And in the evening, we had another prayer and chanting. Sometimes we had pujas, and twice a week we had teachings by our head monk. I was also given a hut where I lived, and I had another room in there. Because I stayed there for 6 months, I had many housemates, around 8 to 9 people that I lived with, that I shared space with, and they became my dear friends. Now, apart from the volunteering, I had a lot of time for my own self. I just meditated, did lots of reading, self-reflection. I had all the time in the world. When I was fired and I lost the life that I had, I actually realized that I gained my time back. And that is the most precious thing in this life, your time. I gained this abundance in the form of time for my own self to reflect and see what I want, who I am, and everything. Let's talk about the challenges I had. Everybody has challenges. Every path you take will offer challenges. And again, here in the monastery, first challenge for me was facing my own self. When you are living in the city where your friends are, where the familiar places are, where your family is, you are easily able to avoid the deep work, the deep inner work, because you're attached to those things and people around you, and you can react, you can blame them, But when I moved to a new environment, I did not know anybody. I was completely new, and whatever challenge would come up, I knew that it is my responsibility to deal with my own reaction, my own emotions, and etc. To deal with my shadows, to deal with my wounds, and to deal with my traumas and repeating patterns and subconscious limiting beliefs. And that was the most challenging yet beautiful part of this path. I learned to observe, and on a day-to-day life, they had rituals and practices. Whenever I would see monks and nuns praying and chanting for the well-being of the world and doing their practices, I got curious. I ended up following them for a bit and decided to learn about what they do, why they do it, and it turned out to be quite fun. A nun I talked to, she said that there is a practice where they offer water to their gurus. She liked doing it every morning, and every evening she would go and pour water into different bowls and then visualize offering her guru water to wash their feet, water to drink, flowers, incense, and lights as she was pouring the water into bowls. I found it quite fun. I read about it and started doing it every week to understand what she was feeling, because she told me it helped her a lot. It was a meditative state for her where she could open her heart to the guru. In my case, I don't have a guru. As much as I love Buddha and I respect him, I honestly love people. Everybody I meet, and everybody I meet is my guru. Everyone on this planet is so beautiful that I consider them to be my teachers. Everybody in this comment section, everybody in my life I met, I'm meeting, I'm about to meet, everybody is a guru to me, everybody is a teacher. I decided, let me visualize the entire earth. And every week I did that meditation by offering water, pouring into different bowls, and I would visualize myself washing the feet of children and grandpas and grandmas, everybody I meet, and the entire planet having lights and flowers and music. And that would open my heart more and more to people around me. And what I understood is those practices are quite good because you start with your mind and then they help you to drop into your heart space. Soon after, I stopped doing the practices and I adapted whatever I was learning from the Buddhism, from their practices, to be my own. And I think that is quite me. I found it to be fun. It was like a guidance, but I was able to appreciate and have fun with it, learn about people's faith, and adapt it to be my own practice. And you know, what I realized is I used to look and see that they're praying and chanting. So we did those chantings for the well-being of the entire world, medicine, Buddha, and we would send prayers and wishes. At first I was very confused because again, we were offering food and I would look at that food and think we could have given that to people under the bridge and I would feel a bit bad. And as I started observing that, I realized that the limiting belief I had is that I must help actively. If I want to help people, I must show up, give advice, give them money, give them food, give them this and this. And I was observing the monks and nuns and people there and realized that the way they help, which is a passive way, by meditating, reflecting, and praying, that's actually huge. That's actually very powerful. When you do that type, you are basically giving your presence, giving your time and safe environment to those around you, and that's a very powerful type of help. Passive or active, they're both equally good, and I learned for myself that I just gotta learn to balance it both. And from now on, I meditate, I pray, I do my own chantings. It's not Buddhist chantings, but I made it to be my own. That helps me to keep my heart open and send blessings. As at the same time, I also actively help. That was one of the challenges and one of the great teachings for myself. Next time, if you have people in your life that pray for you, that wish you well, and they're just there for you, types of people that don't come with their opinion, do not give you active advice, do not give you solution, but they're just there for you. They listen, they're safe. Hope you appreciate them, because that's a lot of work. That is also a lot of work, to be peaceful, to be providing your own time and presence. A third challenge I came across was self-expression. I realized that music, art, self-expression is very important, and it is the core of me. So I craved for it, and I started playing guitar and learning songs, and I would get new housemates, and with them I would sing together. I would sing for them, and we would make silly songs. This helped me realize how limitless art is and how powerful it is to use art, music, to connect. I connected with many people. We made a band, we sang together, we did art exhibitions, we painted Buddhas, and they're still my friends. I love them so much. It was one of the most magical things that happened in my life, uniting over art and creation, because it's not just art. It was beyond that. It was shared moments, shared emotions and feelings expressed through art. That is something I learned for myself while I was there, and we obviously were not allowed to sing and dance around the monastery, around the temple, so we would do it near our huts or in our huts to respect the space of monks and nuns. The monastery itself attracted many people going through lots of changes. All the volunteers were going through a lot of difficulties and spiritual awakening journey. Many of them were grieving, many of them were in pain and suffering, people seeking answers. As I was staying there, I thought I would learn about the religion, but I ended up understanding that it's never been about the religion for me. I genuinely just like people. I like people, I like their faith, I like what they're learning, I like to hear their stories, and that was the most fascinating thing for me. And remember what I mentioned about facing your shadows and facing yourself in a new environment? I realized that it's all about relationships. It's about my relationship with myself, my relationship with my insecurities, my relationship with my failures, my relationship with my emotions, my relationship with my ego, my relationship with religions, suffering, family, friendships, music, art, limiting beliefs, many more. As I was there, I would notice that sometimes I would feel ashamed to talk about myself. And whenever people would ask about myself, I would withhold. I wouldn't share fully, and if I shared too much, I would feel this inner guilt that I'm talking too much about myself. And I was too ashamed to say that I was fired from my job and I'm starting over. I would just give little information and not tell entirely. But people there, including my housemates, my beautiful housemates, watching them, interacting with them, taught me about simplicity in life. And it was my first housemate. She was from Spain, working in the mines as a housekeeper, saving money to travel around. And her simplicity, the way she looked at life, would make me so happy. Her ability to be vulnerable and express her challenges and path. I just realized how beautiful it is to be a human. And I'm a human too, so I'm allowed to express those things. And I shouldn't feel ashamed or feel like a failure, because I'm not. Every path matters, including mine. One day I had this guest coming into the monastery. So I was helping him because his car got stuck. So I was carrying his bags, and I asked my housemate, "Do you want to help?" And she was like, "Yes." And I was just helping, carrying the bags. And when I looked back, I saw my housemate smiling widely and carrying a huge bag. I thought it was super funny. And I asked her, "Why are you happy?" And she was like, "Because we get to help somebody." And that was the moment when I realized that at the moment of helping that person, I was in my mind. It was just an automatic thing for me to help, but wasn't coming from the heart. I decided to enjoy from the heart space. And my housemate would tell me, when she does housekeeping and changes the linen, she makes it super pretty because she thinks about the person who's gonna stay in there. And when they walk in, they're gonna see how pretty, tidy, clean it is and feel good about it. And that would bring her peace. My housemate is beautiful. She's a beautiful friend of mine, and that taught me many things. Now, when I do anything, I do it with intention. Whenever I do the dishes, when I was in the monastery, I would feel good about how people would drink and eat from the clean dishes. And when I cooked, I thought about how they're gonna enjoy and feel healthy. It was never about the religion. It was about people that I met. And many of them taught me many things. I had about 8 to 9 housemates, and each one of them taught me beautiful lessons about myself. And I learned that as I was there, I mentioned this earlier, it's all about your relationship with yourself, relationship with people, religions, nature, your emotions, suffering, everything. It's not, those things aren't the problem. It's your relation to them. It is how you relate to them is the problem. And I would observe that whenever I would meet a person, I could just watch my mind, and my thoughts would say a lot of things. But if I observed and watched long enough, they would fade away, lose their power, and I would drop into my heart, where I would connect on a deeper level from a pure state with everything that is in front of me, and feel the connection, oneness, and depth. Honestly, those 6 months were very healing. I cried almost every day. It was challenging, but yet beautiful. And I learned that it was never about religions. Religions were always just a roadmap. It is a map. Buddha, Jesus, they laid a map. They showed their life. They showed their path, and they said, "This is my path." And us, we can't repeat their path, but we can use the map, see for ourselves, question the map, and see maybe we don't have the same mountain Buddha, so maybe we don't have the same path Jesus walked on our maps. But then at some point of your life, you gotta put that map down and then live from the place of your heart, from the space of your heart. That's where you start drawing with your faith. Your heart draws your new map of your own life with faith. And trust me, it is safe. The heart knows the best. As long as you're open with your heart, you're loving, it will all be okay. And maybe remind yourself that you're never alone. People around you, they're all like you. Listen to them a bit more, listen to yourself a bit more, and try to get your mind out of the way to drop into your heart, and you will see the magic of oneness. As for me, I'm not religious, and I don't want to be. I don't think there is one shoe that fits it all. Every religion is different, and they teach you different things. You can use them as a roadmap to learn and come up with your own path, with your own insights, and it's beautiful. Religions are always going to stay there. In the future, I hope I will live in a world where it's peaceful, where we are all compassionate, and we would just sit and talk. Hey, I am practicing this from Buddhism. I learned this from Christianity. Hey, I'm practicing this from Islam. And we would just talk without identifying, I am this, I am Buddhist, I am Muslim, I am Christian, I am this. I hope I get to live in that world. I am already living, but I hope you can experience that too, where we are all open-minded and open-hearted, and maybe not focus on anything, there is no goal or destination such as enlightenment. In the monastery, I met many people with the goal of getting enlightened. It was funny to watch. I would question and challenge them and ask them, what do you mean? Why not just enjoy life? And there was this old lady. I was playing music in a cafe when I was a barista. I was alone, by the way. I wasn't allowed to play music, but I was a bit naughty. So I played this piano music and I put it on a low volume. This old lady walked in and she started dancing and I started dancing. And she looked at me and she said, enlightenment is easy. And she said, enlightenment is when you know who you are. Don't listen to anything else, Arke, and just enjoy the dance. That was the most beautiful moment, and she was beautiful. Yeah, to me, all the kind people I meet are enlightened. Those who love are enlightened. I don't see a goal, and I don't think you should focus on that either. If you're on your spiritual path, just enjoy getting to know yourself. It's gonna be a lifetime journey. You are still becoming yourself. You're coming out of this earth. Enjoy it fully with your heart open. And trust me, everything will be okay. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And let me know in the comments below what would you like to hear about next. Take care of yourself. I gotta go back and get another cup of coffee. Bye bye.